Okay, so the question asked, write a C program that allows a user to enter a key value and a range of values. The range must be greater than 20, and it will populate an array of size 10 with random values from the range. The program should search the list of random values within the range and return the locations of all the elements in the array which match the key value. If no value matches, then the program states that the key value was not found. So let's see if we can, if we could develop a solution with this. All right, so we are back into code blocks, our good old friend code blocks here. And I just was setting up with, you know, don't study what I have here. I just have set up so that we can use the random value generator a little later on. All right. Okay, so srand, we start off here. This is our time variable for getting a random value. All right, so this is the begin main, this is the seed for the time, for the random value, sorry. And otherwise, we don't have anything else. So how about if we start off by looking at what we'll need. We know for sure that we need an integer key and an array of size 10. Okay, so we have the array of size 10 and the integer, and maybe we can, we have two value variables here as well. We will have the range underscore start and the range underscore end. So we have the values for the range inside of there. All right, the values, the range, of course, must be bigger than 20. That was told to us in the specification. So let me just copy the specification up top so that we will have it inside of here to work with. So I'm going to put it inside of a multi-line comment. All right, so. And at least we have it to reference when we decide to, when we want to look back at what exactly it is we have to do. Everybody with me so far? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Alicia Joshua. I don't know what's going on with everybody else this morning. I just finally real quiet. Okay. All right. So we have the time variable for getting the random value. We have some variables here, right? The first thing that we might want to do is print out and ask the user, please enter the start and stop range. And we'll probably just get them to separate that by commas, right? So we use scanf and we use %d, comma, %d with a ampersand for the range underscore s, comma, ampersand range underscore e. So this is the start and end values of the range, and then we have to validate this. Not so? Well, let's just assume that they'll enter it properly. Maybe we can come back after and validate it. Okay, so in the beginning, we're just going to assume that they will enter values with the range larger than 20. Okay, so what do we want to do after that? We want to come up with a way to get random values within a particular range. Okay, so the random values within a particular range. So we know that, let's say for instance, just to ensure that we know what we're doing, if it is that the range entered was 25 and 50, we want to get values. We want to get 10 values, 10 random values between 25 and 50. So how do we do that? Okay, how do we do that? We will have to say that, and of course we have to have a loop to be able to populate this array. So we need some kind of counter. We could say for every value. So let me say get the value, get the range from the user, store the range values, right? And then we of course know that to do we have to validate the range, but we'll come back after and do that because we'll test it with appropriate values. And we'll say for I is equal to 0. So this is to get random values for every number within the range. For I is equal to 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus, and we're saying here for every position in the range, what do we want to do? Anybody want to walk me through here? What do we want to do for every position in the range? We want to get a random value within the range. Right. Okay, and store it inside of the array. So we could say array at position I is equal to rand mod what? Range underscore E minus range underscore S. What is this going to do? This is going to allow me to get values between only values within that range, right? So if it is that I had 50 as my range to 75, it means that there's a range of 25 values that I want to get. And then after I have to add back my range underscore. So I'm going to swap my window. If it is that I put in for my start range as 50, and I say my end range is 75. It means that what I do is when I call my random number, rand mod, right, end minus start, what I'm going to get here is 25. So my values here would be, of course, between 0 to 24. But I wanted between 50 and 75. So I have to add 50 on both ends here, so that my range will eventually be between 50 and 74. Okay, and maybe I could add 1 to get back that 75 or something so inside of there. But that's how I end up getting my start range and end range. Everybody with me in terms of how I got that? All right, so I take away the end from the start and then I add back the start so that I can get values within that range. And of course, we could always print it out just to verify that we could print it out just to verify that it works, right? So F and sign D with a space, and we say array at position I. So this printf statement here, right, is just going to allow me to check and verify every value within range. Let's see if I put in 50 here, comma 75 here. I get values between 50, and so I got 10 values in between that range. Okay, so that worked out well enough, right? So store a value within the range in a position in the array. All right, and this was just to test the array. So test values. Okay. Or let me say print out a value stored. All right. Let me not let's leave it here, and then we can then go here and say printf just \n to allow us to now a new line. So what is the next thing that we want to do? Next thing that we want to do is to get the actual search key from the user. Okay, so we can go printf and we prompt the user search key. So the please enter a search key. So what do I want? What am I doing here? I'm going to say, okay, ask the user for a search key. And where do I store that? Scanf. I store that inside of the variable key. So %d ampersand key. So store it inside of key. And now all I have to do is I now have to go through every element and search and compare, every element against this key. And I can now get my value, my position returned if it, or printed out if it is that this key matches. So how do I do that? I have another loop. I say for, we could use back the same I 0 semicolon I is less than 10 semicolon I plus plus. We could say if what? Anybody wanted to walk me through this part here? Anybody want to walk me through this part? No? Okay. All right. So if what? If it, yeah.
Yes, if the check value, if the key is equal to array at position 0, you could put like
At position
printf
0 or
found
position I?
I, you could put like printf found at
Yeah.
array found at array position I, and you could, if it happens, you could just break the loop and you could end it there.
All right. All right. Position %d, right? And this would be I. But what happens if we don't find the key? We have to have something that tells us whether we found the key or not. Not so? Yeah? No? So we need
Yeah,
a,
you could put like
right.
something.
We need a flag. So found is equal to 0. And if it is that we do find at least the key, if we come out of the for loop and we say if found is equal to 0, what happens? Then we have to printf the key was not found. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to just annotate this. We say for every value in the array, compare that value against the search key, right? And if it matches, print out the position, set the found flag to 1. All right? If the found flag is 0 after searching the whole array, then print that the key was not found. So it's either we search through the whole array and we see whether or not it matches. If it doesn't match, then what do? It means that found would never have changed, and it tells us that the key was not found. All right, so let's take a look at this. I'm going to have to share my whole screen so that you all could see my, all right. So we want to enter the start and stop range. The start range, let's say, is 40. The stop range is 90. So we get some values between 40 and 90. Let's look for a search key. A search key 66. 66 is present. So hopefully it tells us that 66 was found. The key was found at position 7, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so it works here. Let's see if again, let's enter 40 and 60. All right, we have 52 twice. Let's see if 52 twice will work. 52, the key was found at position 3. Oh, we have 52 3 times. 3, 6, and 9. Look at that. All right, so what does that tell me? It tells me that I should put a /n here. Okay, and now let's test it to see a value that's not found. So let's have 30, 100. All right, a value that's not inside here is 46. The key was not found. So this is a really straightforward method of looking for a value inside of an array, right? It's just straight, it hits every potential location. It's a search that is really simple. It's not good for searching through large values of arrays, okay? Because this is a really inefficient search technique. If you have a million values to search, then it will have to go through a million different elements to check for your value. Very simple, and it's very good for smaller arrays. Okay, it's good for smaller arrays. And what we're going to move on to next is a search technique that is going to work pretty quickly on larger arrays, but there is a caveat to it. And we will see that in a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do, again, we're going to take a little break now. We're going to come back in a few minutes, and then we will take a look at the binary search approach, right? Any questions before we go on break?
Wait, so, you want me to show you my code?
Yeah, you could send it. You want to share it in the chat?
Okay, no problem.
All right then.
It just have like the only thing it have an error and it's saying garden declare test run, but I have it declared. I'm not sure what the problem is.
Okay. All right. You could send it and I'll take a look at it. Chelsea,
Okay.
the T in time was used here in the seed. This variable here is this variable up here. Okay, that's the one that links to the computer's clock so that we can have an ever-changing seed value for calling Rand. Any other questions before we go on our little break? All right, so I'm pausing recording